If you're watching this video, I hope you've had a chance to watch the first one about keyboard shortcuts. It will make this video will make some more sense if you've already watched that one. I'm big into keyboard shortcuts, which is why I'm going to tell you about how to set up and how to use Quicksilver. It's a very keyboard-centric way of navigating and launching and moving things and just getting around your computer. So that's what this first video is going to be about. It's about how to use Quicksilver. I'll walk you through kind of some ways you can use it, and then I'll show you how to set it up. So I hope you enjoy this video about Quicksilver. First of all, one thing that I've done is I got rid of Spotlight, and I'll explain that more later. But all you need to know right now is that the keyboard shortcut I use to pull up Quicksilver is Command Space. So if I hit Command Space, it pops Quicksilver up. And Quicksilver is this little box. And the way Quicksilver works is on the left side, you give it an item, and then on the right side, you give it an action. And so, for example, if I wanted to launch Twitter, okay, if I want to launch my Twitter app, all I have to do is start typing Twitter, T, and since I've used Twitter a number of times, it has learned my preferences. So all I have to do is type the letter T, and the first thing that comes up is Twitter. Then you can see that in the second box on the right is open. So right now, all I have to do is hit return, and it opens Twitter, okay? So I'll show you again how quickly that can be once you get used to using Twitter. Command space, T for Twitter, return, and Twitter's open. So one of the ways I use Quicksilver is as an application launcher. Another way that I use Quicksilver is to quickly move folders. Now again, you might ask, why not just use your mouse? Well, you can use your mouse, that's fine, but the way I do this is a little bit quicker and just kind of easier for me. Again, these are my workflows, and so this is just kind of how it works for me. If you like it, run with it. So what I've done, I'll show you how to set this up later, but what I've done is I've created a way using Quicksilver to quickly pull the item that I've selected into Quicksilver to then act on it. So what I've got is an untitled folder on my desktop, and let's say I want to move that folder into my Pictures folder, which is a couple levels deep in my Finder. The way I can do this is if I've got the item selected, I can hit Command Escape. Now you can see that that untitled folder has been pulled into Quicksilver. I hit Tab to go to the second box. I type move to, then I tab and I tell it where I want to move it. Move it to my Pictures folder. I hit return, and now it's been moved to my Pictures folder. Alright, now that I've shown you a couple of the use cases for Quicksilver, let me dig into how to set it up. So let's get into actually setting up Quicksilver. One thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to change the keyboard shortcut for Spotlight, because right now Spotlight is linked to the keyboard shortcut that I use, Command Space. So you have to turn that off for Spotlight so that you can then turn it on for Quicksilver. So let's pull up the system preferences. Now I need to go into Spotlight. From here, I need to scroll to the bottom and uncheck this box that says Spotlight Menu Keyboard Shortcut. Okay, just uncheck that box, because really, I'm going to teach you how to use Quicksilver to replace Spotlight anyway, so we're not going to use Spotlight anymore if you're following along with how I'm setting up my workflow. So uncheck that box. And that's all you need to do in the system preferences. Now we need to go back to Quicksilver's preferences. When you first install Quicksilver, it's going to have you set up its keyboard shortcut as Control Space. So you're going to need to hit Control Space right now to pull up Quicksilver. Now we need to get into the preferences. Command, comma will get us into the preferences. The first thing we need to do is then change that keyboard shortcut. So what you want to do is go to Command, and the hotkey, you're going to want to click Edit, and then click Command Space. Now you're changed. Now to pull up Quicksilver, you hit Command Space. Okay? Next thing you're going to want to do is dig into your plugins a little bit. Okay? These are the plugins that I install. I'll list them off in the post itself, and you can install the ones that I have, or if there's other ones that you like that I don't have, that's fine too. But I might reference some, or yours might look different from mine if you don't install the ones that I have. So If you want to just look through all the plugins, you just click all plugins over here on the left. If you want to install one, all you do is click in the checkbox to the left of it, and then it will install right there for you. One of the shortcuts I shared with you earlier was about pulling in the currently selected item in the Finder so that you can quickly move that. The way that you do that is you go to Triggers, and then it's got one for you. It's called Select Current Selection. Okay? What you want to do is you want to check that on the left, and then over here on Trigger, you're going to double click, which will pop out this box, and then under Hotkey, you hit Edit, and then I use Command Escape. You can use whatever you want. Command Escape's just, I must have read it somewhere sometime, and that's what I use. Another nice thing about Quicksilver is that you can set up custom triggers. So if you want Command, Control, Option, T to launch Twitter, there's an easy way to set that up. So let's get that set up. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to click this plus at the bottom, and then you're going to click Hotkey. As soon as you click Hotkey, what's going to happen is it's going to pop open a Quicksilver window. It's going to be the same thing. You've got an item, an action, and a target. It's just going to look a little bit different from whatever display you normally use for Quicksilver. So what I can do is select my item. What's my item? Twitter. So I type T. It pops up with Twitter. It's got open. That's what I want. I want it to open Twitter when I do this hotkey. So I'll click Save. Now it's got open Twitter. You can see it's got the check. Open Twitter. Problem is we have no trigger set up. So let's set up a trigger. Again, I double click on trigger. Now I want to set my hotkey. So set keys is blinking, meaning it's ready to take an input. So I hit Control Option Command T. Now my trigger, my hotkey, is set up. Let's see if it works. I'll hit Control Option T, and you can see Twitter opens up. While we're here, let's dig into a couple more preferences inside of Quicksilver. And we're going to go back to the preferences now. I was in triggers, so I'm going to go back to the preferences. And I'm going to look at the application. And I'm going to say start at login. And me, because I'm on an 11-inch MacBook Air, keep that in mind because I have a really small screen. I do not have a ton of screen real estate. So I am going to uncheck Show Icon in Dock. I do not want that checked. And I do not want Show Icon in Menu Bar checked. I don't want anything clogging up my dock, and I don't want anything clogging up my menu bar. Remember, anytime I need to access Quicksilver, it's just a quick command space away. So I don't need it in my dock, and I don't need it in my menu bar. I can just quickly command space, and I have access to it. My appearance, here's another place where you can customize it to what you would like it to look like. If I want the cube, and I like the cube, that's the one I used to use until this bezel HUD came out. I choose cube, and now you can see with command space, you can see what the cube looks like. You can see how I wrote when I rotate it back and forth, it looks like the cube. Okay, let's check out the calculator. This is one of the really interesting uses of Quicksilver. So a quick way to calculate is to pull up Quicksilver. Then if I hit period, Quicksilver goes into text mode. Okay, and at this point I can do 100 times 50. Okay, and it's the asterisk is what does the times. And then if I hit tab, it'll take me back here, and what I've got is, on the left side is 100 times 50, and on the right side is calculate. So the item is 100 times 50, and the action is to calculate it, okay? If I hit enter, it's going to, in large type, it's going to show me what the answer is. Now that looked kind of slow, but that's just because I was explaining it. So let's do it again. Let's say I want to do something totally random. I'll pull this up, and I want to do 1,324 times 943. Enter. There's my answer. So now that you see how that can be useful, let's look at some of the preferences. The first thing that you're going to need to do is, if you want that large type, which is what I did, the big font where it shows you the big answer, okay, that's the second option, large type. The third option is notification. It will show you a notification using whatever notifier that you use. So for example, I use Growl, so it will show a notification using Growl. I do large type just because if I'm calculating something, I want to see that answer really big. The next option is something that's actually been added recently, and it's copy results to clipboard. That's pretty handy. So whenever you do a calculation, the answer to your calculation is going to be on your clipboard ready to be pasted somewhere. That's handy, and I think it's worth setting up these options beforehand so that you can maximize your use of Quicksilver.